All right, let's dive right into this explainer because we really need to talk about why most people in Ireland under the age of 50 are actually years behind on their retirement planning. And the crazy part? Most don't even realize it. A lot of us think we're doing, well, okay when it comes to preparing for our future. But the uncomfortable truth we're unpacking today is this. If you haven't seriously started a pension, you aren't just slightly behind, you are significantly behind. So today, we're going to look at exactly what a normal retirement costs, how much you should actually have saved by your current age, and how you can figure out really quickly if you're in trouble or right on track. Pensions in Ireland really can feel a bit like an episode of Father Ted. Think about it for a second. You've got everyone in the room, everyone's kind of nodding along to all this dense financial jargon like it makes perfect sense. But secretly, everyone is just hoping that some grand, magical plan will swoop in and sort it all out in the end. Well, it's time to break that illusion, guys. Wishing and hoping is definitely not a financial strategy. We have to actually look at the hard numbers. Which brings us to Section 1, the uncomfortable truth, what it actually costs. See, before we can figure out just how far behind you might be, we need to know what the finish line actually looks like, right? When we talk about a comfortable retirement, we need to set some realistic expectations. Look, we're not talking about a life of luxury here. This isn't about, buying yachts or taking 5 fancy luxury holidays a year. A comfortable retirement simply means being able to pay your everyday bills, keep a car running, maybe take a modest holiday once a year, and, crucially, live without constantly stressing over money. And right now, reaching that very basic baseline of comfort costs roughly 20,000 to 30,000 euros every single year. And that is strictly on top of whatever the state pension gives you. Let's say you're aiming for the higher end of that comfortable bracket, so 30,000 euros a year. Even if you qualify for the absolute maximum contributory state pension, you're only looking at roughly 14,000 euros. So yeah, the state pension alone simply isn't going to cut it. It leaves a massive 16,000 euro shortfall every single year. Section 2, the rule of 25, bridging the gap. Because somehow you need to generate that missing 16,000 euros yourself. To figure out exactly how much you need sitting in the bank to generate that kind of yearly income, we use a really simple but honestly super powerful piece of math. It's called the rule of 25. Basically, it dictates that for every 1,000 euros of annual income you want to draw down in retirement, you need about 25,000 euros saved in your pension pot. It's just a fantastic, fast way to translate what you need every year into your ultimate lifetime goal. So let's apply that math to our shortfall, okay? 16 multiplied by 25 gives us our target, 400,000 euros. Literally, just let that sink in for a second. That is roughly what you need sitting in your pension pot. It is a massive number. And frankly, it's exactly the number that most people severely underestimate when they're blindly nodding along, just hoping it'll all sort itself out. Time for a bit of a wake-up call. Section 3, the reality check, your age target. It is time to compare that massive 400,000 euro target against the reality of what people actually have in their accounts right now. Based on your current age, the targets are pretty strict. By age 30, you want 1 times your current salary saved up. By 40, you want 2 to 3 times. By 50, 4 to 6 times. And by 60, you're aiming for a whopping 7 to 10 times your salary. But here is the really uncomfortable reality from the data. If you're in your 30s in Ireland right now, you likely have absolutely nothing, or maybe a tiny employer pension you barely understand. If you're in your 40s, you might have 50 to 100 grand if you're doing really well. The truth is, most people are completely missing these benchmarks. Moving on to Section 4, the invisible trap, the cost of waiting. Why is there such a massive disconnect here? Well, the reason we fall behind is largely psychological. Think about it, pensions are essentially invisible. You put money away, but there's no immediate reward. You get absolutely zero dopamine hit from it. Nobody's standing around talking about their pension at the pub, right? Combine that with a system that's naturally confusing, and human nature just takes over. We delay. But here's the thing. That delay is literally the most expensive mistake you can make. Let's look at a quick scenario. Say you start investing in your pension at age 25. You might need a fairly manageable 200 euros a month. But wait, just 10 years until you're 35? The financial effort to hit that exact same goal completely doubles. And what if you keep waiting? What if you wait until you're 45 to start taking this seriously? Well, now you're looking at monthly contributions that feel almost impossible for an average earner. It's the exact same finish line, but an entirely different level of effort. Honestly, a successful pension isn't really about how much money you throw at it. It's almost entirely about how early you start. All right, enough doom and gloom. Let's fix this. Section 5. Closing the gap, taking action. It is time to take all this information and empower you to figure out your own exact standing today. Here is the absolute simplest 3-step formula to run your own numbers right now. Step 1. Take your desired, comfortable retirement income and subtract the state pension. Step 2. Take whatever number is left over and multiply it by 25. That gives you your total target pension pot. And step 3. Look at whatever you currently have saved and compare it to that target. That difference? That's your gap. And that is exactly what you need to focus on closing. Now listen to me on this. If you run those numbers and the gap feels terrifyingly big, I want you to know that is completely normal. Most people are in the exact same boat. The crucial takeaway from this explainer is this. The mistake isn't being behind. The mistake is ignoring it. The longer you keep your head in the sand, the harder the math becomes. But the earlier you take action, the easier it is to bridge that gap. So, now that you know exactly where you stand and how far you have to go, the next logical question is, how do you actually get there efficiently? Like, what are the biggest pension mistakes quietly costing Irish people tens or even hundreds of thousands of euros over time? Well, we are going to dive into exactly that and how to easily fix those mistakes in our next explainer. Trust me, you absolutely won't want to miss it. See you then.